Welcome back. One final point before we go tonight. Big news today. The Women's March has a new target. White women. Their new initiative, called #ConfrontWhiteWomanhood, has an official website. Yep, they've now codified into the foreverness of the internet their racism against women like me, because I was born with white skin. You see, these women of color who launched this website are targeting me because of the color of my skin, and they think that's okay. They think it's a-okay to tell me that I cause real harm and violence based on my skin color combined with my gender. And here I thought it was my actions that determine who I am, not immutable characteristics like race and sex. But maybe I listened to too many of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches. This is why we don't believe Black Lives Matter when they say Black Lives Matter doesn't mean white lives don't matter. This is why we don't believe liberals when they claim that they fight against racism. This is why we don't believe Democratic politicians who decry hatred and bigotry, but then don't say a word about the 21 members of the Congressional Black Caucus who met with radical hate preacher, black supremacist Louis Farrakhan back in 2005 and now refuse to denounce his hate and bigotry against white people and Jews. Because liberals are liars. And we can see that for ourselves by how the Liberal Women's March is now targeting white women because of the skin color that we were born with. The Women's March is literally looking at the color of my skin and telling me that I need to change my ways, change my beliefs, and telling me that I am responsible for hurting other people because I was born with lighter color skin than the founders of their march. And that is racism. It's racism. Character is not determined by the color of our skin, but by our actions. My skin has never acted independently from my body to enact harm on anybody. Now here is everything that's wrong with this dumb, racist campaign. According to the #ConfrontWhiteWomanhood website, brown people have to ask permission to join the Confront White Woman workshops. Literally a white-only space that these radical leftist feminists are pretending is not white-only. And a little tangent here, but why do these radical race-baiting liberal feminists despise men so much? This is from their website. White women are viewed as objects to be defended by our white male protectors. My husband doesn't view me as an object, but I love the fact that he's willing to lay down his life to protect me. Why do these feminists need to demonize men to live their truth? That's a red flag to the foundation of their ideology, is it not? But basically, the Women's March just wants our money. Their website reads, "Create a habit of sharing financial and labor-based resources with people of color-led groups with no expectations of outcome or credit." Please, fight against the racism inherent in the abortion industry that targets black people at a rate 5 times greater than white people. And then get back to me about how you support black Americans. Stop pretending that you can define my womanhood. If nobody but you can define what it means to be a woman of color, who are you to tell me what it means to be a white woman? But see, that's the difference between you and me. I don't identify as a white woman. I identify as a woman. My skin color doesn't define who I am. But let's define who you are by your actions. Let's follow the money trail. #ConfrontWhiteWomanhood was founded by the Women's March. The Women's March was organized by radical feminist Linda Sarsour, the same Linda Sarsour who declared that Sharia law was reasonable for women and called for female genital mutilation against her political opponents, and of course idolizes the cop killer Assata Shakur. Now that is some real empowerment for women right there. But perhaps the scariest part of all, this is the new Democratic Party. These people are not on the fringe anymore. They are fringe, but they've taken over the mainstream Democratic Party. Linda Sarsour, the co-organizer of the Women's March who organized #ConfrontWhiteWomanhood, she was honored on Barack Obama's White House website as a champion of change. But do you hear any elected Democrats disavowing her racism? Or the racism of the Congressional Black Caucus and visiting with radical hate preacher Louis Farrakhan, who, by the way, Sarsour also praises? No, you don't. The Democrats actually embrace racism against white people if it gets them votes, power, and money. And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, and until then, have a good night.